Let's look at that date again, but now we're going to look at it from the perspective of what's going on inside her head. Who is she as a person? What are her emotions? What are the things she's doing, telling us that sort of a perspective. So let's crack into it. Hey, you.
How are you?
Good. It's fine. You found me. I thought I was going to have to go, like, organize a search party, figure out my way to you.
I took the subway from Columbus Circle, and it's like crazy right now because of all the runners just finished.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was just checking that because, like, everywhere the people in, like, their little, like, capes and stuff.
Yeah.
They're superheroes.
Yeah, they are. They definitely are. Because I could not run a fucking marathon.
Fair enough. I mean, you have very little weight to support, so it's less strain on your body.
Yeah, but still running. You know, don't want to do it.
No, I know. So when I was one of the biggest mistakes of my life, when I was in college, I was a soccer player, but I got injured one year. I ran cross country instead to stay fit. Terrible mistake.
Yeah.
Awful. Longest I ever ran was 13 miles, and that was when I was in really good shape, like phenomenal shape, like college cross country runner shape. And I woke up, drank a gallon of water, ran 13 miles, went back to bed, and proceeded to have cramps in every part of my body for 6 hours.
Yeah,
it was just
terrible.
Horrible.
Yeah, I'm not like any running. Like, I'd rather walk it than like run it. No running. No, thank you. I'll pass.
So you're like the kid I made fun of in gym class.
I mean, like, no, I like play gym, good gym. And
I just give you a hard time. It's alright.
Yeah. Other sports are better.
Fair enough. You look lovely. Casual yet elegant.
Yeah, just rolled out of bed this way.
Oh, really? So this is a pretty low-key start to a date, obviously. Not super man to woman, not super sexual, any of that kind of stuff. But you can still start to generate a little bit about her blueprint, right? You can notice that she's very, like, politically correct, very modest in her way. Now, whether she's actually modest or she's just being modest because she thinks that's a socially acceptable thing, tough to tell in terms of all that. But it's kind of like she has in her head sort of an idea of what is proper on a date, what a date means, that kind of stuff. And she's going to play to that framework until and unless that framework is violated, right? So this is a very, very, like, standard, society-friendly, like, full of platitudes kind of thing. There's not a lot of, like, it's not at all risque. There's not a lot of, like, crazy uniqueness yet. So that's all going to have to be built in. That said, she does seem relatively comfortable overall. So I don't think building comfort is going to be the biggest factor.
Okay. Casual.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I'm a little offended you didn't put more effort in for me then, in that case.
Yeah.
I feel I merit a little, you know.
Maybe a little bit. That might have been a brush. But that's, not too much.
Oh, man. You are amusing. I appreciate the... I also like the squint. How many people in your life have called you out on that squint?
Not a lot.
Really?
Like, besides, like, my
That's
mother.
very yeah, please. That'd be good. How about a menu? Thank you.
Yeah. Besides, like, my mother yelling at me for squinting, no one else calls me out on my squinting.
All right, well, I'm in the company of your mother. That's excellent.
Yeah. Mostly it's like because I'm not wearing my glasses, you know? What are you drinking?
I am drinking champagne because I drink champagne all the time, even when there's nothing to celebrate. Yes.
Okay, I can respect that.
But no, I like sweet white wines. So when there's not a sweet white, champagne's a good go-to.
Yeah. You don't like red wine?
I like sweet things, to be completely honest. So
Acceptable, I guess.
I'll do white wines or I'll do cocktails. Like sweet cocktails, I love.
I like that.
So we're sandwiched on the subway amid like 500 sweaty runners. Is that what I'm to believe?
Yeah. Because, they were just like packed full. I was like gonna get the one at first.
Of all the times when I wouldn't take the subway, like I just ran a marathon, I think I could splurge for a taxi.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So that's why we're gonna take you.
Yeah, because like the pickup and stuff. Yeah, you're right.
And depending on where they live, it's like the marathon, they go to every borough. Like they start in fucking Staten Island. you recommend anything?
I recommend you get whatever type of alcohol you typically like.
Well, I like all types of alcohol.
Do you? If it were me, off the top, because I'm into like sweet stuff, I would go with that. But that's
I was
just
just
me.
looking at that. I think that's what.
So two interesting things here in terms of blueprint and then in terms of knowing where she's at. The first one is I like all types of alcohol. Whether it's true or not, a girl that will say that typically is going to be more sexually open, more sexually adventurous than one who won't. As kind of evidence of this, years ago they did a thing on OkCupid. They have all the survey questions, and they tried to find out what question was most closely correlated to would you have sex on a first date. There was a non-sexual question, and the question that actually came up the winner was, do you enjoy the taste of beer, right? So girls who like to drink in particular are going to be girls who are more down to party, down for crazy adventures, down for sex, that kind of stuff. So that's a key thing to note, just in general, like to kind of keep in the back of your mind. Second thing specific to she and I right here is that she doesn't want to make a decision regarding alcohol. She kind of wants me to make a decision for her. She wants me to lead. That's a very big indicator of blueprint, right? She's indicating she likes me to lead. And then when I say, hey, that one, she's like, oh, I was just thinking it. She's indicating that she's in my frame, willing to be led, that kind of stuff. Now, you may think I'm overreaching, that like, I'm finding things that aren't even there. But I'm telling you from my experience, these kind of things are very, very consistent behaviors, like across many, many girls, tons of experiences I've had. That when girls act this way, they want to be led and they're in your frame. They're liking you, and they're thinking a lot about like not trying to say the thing that will turn you off, right? They want your acceptance, they want your validation, and that's why they get in this kind of frozen sort of thing where they don't want to make their own choices because they're afraid of making a bad choice.
I'm gonna do.
I thought about that. This is also like, if you want to be sweet but also like not cut your balls off and pretend you're still a man, old-fashioned's a good way to go.
I don't like old-fashioned.
Well, you're not a man either, so it's fine.
Yeah, so I'm allowed to get the sparkling peach cosmetic.
Oh, you totally are.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I am too, and I am a man, so.
Yeah. No, anyone's allowed to get it. They won't judge.
I was worried. I thought I was gonna crumble under the scathing judgment of Kristen.
I mean, there's still potential. I said I wouldn't judge your drink choice.
So here's another little kind of insight into the girl, right? She's saying this thing like, oh, there's still a chance you can disappoint me. I was just saying I won't judge your drink choice. That's what she's saying on the surface. So on the surface, it's a shit test. Underneath the surface, what's she saying? She's saying, I'm trying really hard to hold on to the frame. I'm trying really hard to be in charge here. I'm trying really hard to like try and have a position of value in this relationship. It's almost like she wants to flirt and she wants that flirty vibe and she wants to be like keeping up with me, but she can't really do it. So instead of it coming off effortless, it's coming off as try hard, right? But the big thing is, instead of taking this as a negative, I would take it as a massive, massive positive.
Only that area. A lot of other things I can judge.
Keep me posted.
Yeah.
So where does the snarky sarcasm come from?
Do I have a snarky sarcasm?
A little bit.
Just a little bit. I don't know. I'm a Philly girl, so part of our charm, I guess. Is it bad? Is it bad? Am I too
I appreciate a little wry wit. If somebody's too much like bubbles and rainbows and sunshine, I can't handle it.
Yeah, no one wants that. Not around ever. Yeah.
Please bring no happiness my way. Especially not before noon.
Yeah.
Like smiles before noon, I just like.
Definitely.
Except you have to wake up early because you're in like, hardcore school and whatnot. You poor girl. Why do you do that to yourself? So this is interesting, the kind of like pointing out the fact that she has to get up early and her life is rough and that kind of stuff. It's a little sympathy and a little like, I know you, I understand you. But the bigger thing I'm doing here is, without saying it, I'm contrasting my life, right? So I just said, oh, you poor thing, you have to get up early, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what's the unspoken truth? The unspoken truth is like, I don't have to get up early because I'm my own boss. I'm in charge of my schedule. Nobody tells me what to do, right? If I were to say that, I'd be like, I'm cool because I'm my own boss. I have my own schedule. Nobody tells me what to do. I'd be bragging. It'd be try hard. But when I just point it out by pointing out that it's unfortunate that she has that, there's no brag there. If anything, there's sympathy there. But I'm able to convey my attractive lifestyle sort of like backhandedly, like obliquely, right? And this is a great way to communicate those traits that women really want in a man.
I need the degree.
So, honest question from someone who dropped out of school 1 credit away from graduating, started a business, and is very happy.
Okay.
So maybe a biased, honest question, if you will.
Okay.
Do you think that suddenly when you get a degree and get a job, like, your life's going to be 1,000,000% better?
No.
Okay. Just checking.
I think, like, if you're happy with what you want to do, or, like, you know what you want to do, and you need the degree in order to do that, then I think you'll be happy once you get to that area, which is, like, my scenario. I don't think, like, everyone needs a degree to succeed or be happy or whatever. I don't care what people do.
I wasn't talking about everyone. I was talking about you.
No, I'm saying, like, personally, yeah.
I
need the degree to do what I want to do.
Which is help as many people as possible and make the world a better place.
Obviously.
Can I change
All
your,
in 1 year.
Can I change your last name to Teresa in my phone? Is that okay?
Well, I mean, it's fine. Be like, that's what you want to do.
Oh, fair enough.
My sister's name's Teresa. That's not her name.
Oh, really? No, I meant like just like Mother
I know
Teresa.
Mother Teresa.
Yeah. I'm glad you're with me on that.
Why did you give up 1 credit? Like 1 course? So like 3 credits?
1 class.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it literally was a 1 credit class though. I had 1 elective.
Why did you stop that?
An opportunity presented itself to me.
And you couldn't do it?
No, I was in school in upstate New York. The opportunity was in Los Angeles.
Online class.
I mean, I eventually did take a class and transfer it in, yeah.
Okay, well there you go.
Like
No, because that just like...
No, yeah, two years later I got my degree and my grandmother decided not to roll over in her grave.
yeah.
But that said, I always tell my mom if I ever... Sorry, not to knock degrees, they're wonderful. But I always tell my mom if I ever use my degree, consider me a failure in life. Because on the course I'm on now.
Yeah. That's understandable. Hopefully I'll use mine. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just be like, we don't want you.
Okay. So socially, do you date just outside your school and it wasn't a big deal, or did you just not date a lot in high school?
When I didn't date a lot in high school, so you really can't do. Single-sex schools are very big in Philly. You know, I could have gone to like one of like 10 all-girl schools. So then there's 10 all-guy schools to like go right on.
And you have like your little mixers or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe like formal dance where you have a date with somebody you barely know.
But you have to ask the boy because they can't ask you to your own formal.
Oh, really? All right.
Yeah.
So you learned at a young age to, take care and take charge and get the boys in line. So here's some good, interesting information about her. Didn't date a lot in high school and went to an all-girls school. Those are very, very useful facts, right? Didn't date a lot in high school. That's going to mean one of a couple things, but it means probably that she's more educated than average. It's going to mean that she might not be super sexually experienced, so something to be aware of. Some girls that didn't date a lot in high school, they go to college and then they just go crazy and it doesn't really, they make up for lost time. Other girls, because they didn't date a lot in high school, that just doesn't become as big of a part in their life, and so they tend to prioritize other things over men, right? It could even mean lower sex drive potentially in some cases, that kind of stuff. The all-girls school and the formal dance thing and all that, that's interesting because it's insinuating that there's she's used to dating with structures, used to dating within societal conventions, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it seems like she is maybe willing to take charge and maybe show some interest, especially in the fact that she said she's had to ask guys out, that kind of stuff. So these are all different factors that I would be at least keeping in mind, keeping in the back of my head as I get to know the girl better.
I guess. Well, I just didn't care. I was going to hang out with my friends and get wasted afterwards.
I mentioned before the if she is into alcohol, it's a correlation to a lot of things. This kind of a statement, I was just there to get wasted with my friends, huge correlator to sex, adventure, one-night stand, etc.
I didn't care who went with me.
I like your outlook. You could be fun. On a good day. Fun. Well, that's what I'll do. I'll text you from now on. I'll be like, hey, is it a good day or a bad day? If you're like, bad day, I'm like, don't beat me. Good day? Come on out. Yeah, fair enough. Oh, man. So, genuine question, because it revolves around what I might do with you after a drink or two. On a scale from 1 to 10, with 10 being like the nerdiest person ever and 1 being like I can't form a sentence or read, where are you?
It's a hard question. Can I phone a friend? I want to say I'm pretty moderate.
Pretty moderate.
So I think I would say I fluctuate between a 4 and a 6, depending on the topic.
Okay, that is the most fucking cop-out answer ever, right? It's the most like average. But let's look at what this says about her, right? Average. She likes fitting in. She wants to fit in. Even her answer, can I phone a friend, right? Can I look for social approval from someone? Can I see what the right answer is socially? What's the socially acceptable answer, right? I'm sure that, it's a joke, obviously, from the TV show. But, like, even the fact that that's the thing she would think of there instinctively, it's all social approval, all right? So this is a girl that's used to fitting in. She's used to doing the socially right thing. She's used to being politically correct, etc.
But that also might be a cop-out answer. I acknowledge that. But it was a pretty broad question.
Did you draw a bell curve in your head when answering that?
I didn't.
You were like, well, I think a 4 and a 6 is between like 1 standard deviation. So that's between like the 67th percentile.
No, not that much of a nerd. And I would have been at the end of the...
But you know what I was talking about.
Yeah, I know what a bell curve is.
I would hope so in your line of work. Salty? All right. So you do follow the sports even if you don't slam so much? Actually a random-ish question. How curly is your hair normally?
This is fake curly.
This is fake. Well, I mean, this is fake curly, but like this up here is not fake curly.
Yeah. I have relatively curly hair. Not like ringlets. I was like born with like ringlets, but now it's kind of just like a hot mess.
So you rolled out of bed with ringlets?
What?
I'm clowning on you because you said like that I rolled out of bed like this thing. I was thinking that at the time. I wasn't going to say anything, but now you said ringlets, I have to say. You rolled out of bed with ringlets. That's awesome. Like, it's impressive.
No, I don't. All fake.
Yeah. It's a really good wig. It's really on there. I mean, it's like...
yeah. I'm just like put the super glue on there and hoping for the best.
So this is another great example of her following my frame, right? I joke on the wig thing and she goes with it, right? Oh, I put the super glue on there, the wig, etc., right? So what is the blueprint of this girl so far? So she likes to fit in. She considers herself like relatively average in whatever way, and she's looking for social approval. And if there's a strong lead, she's very willing to follow a strong lead, right? So what do you do with a girl like this? Well, you need to be a little bit cautious about being super offensive, super out there. You need to be a little bit cautious about like making really bold, outlandish moves. But that said, if she likes you a bit and you're willing to lead, she's much more looking for a reason to say yes than looking for a reason to say no.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
It's so natural.
Just let me know if like something starts looking weird. Can you like do that for me?
I will. If I need to, I'll shift it over for you a little bit.
Is it that obvious I have curly hair? It's this right here, isn't it?
It's right at the root, yeah. No,
that doesn't straighten out.
It's right here.
Yeah, that doesn't straighten out. No.
Well, you can't get like this. You have a straightening iron, right? You can't get the straightening iron that close.
No,
It's
you
like,
get that close.
huh?
But it doesn't straighten out.
Really? I think it's
And
endearing.
it's only right there, but like anywhere else on my head, it's fine.
It's endearing. It's fine.
Yeah, just a little special up there.
Is that what your teachers
Remind
told
me
you
of
as a
my
kid?
roots.
Oh man.
When I was a kid, I had like really tight curls, and my family used to call me the Pepsi girl. Do you remember the little girl who used to do the commercials?
No. Should I be Googling this right now? Hang on.
She's
You
also
talk,
in
I'll
a
Google.
movie with like the parrot, and she's like deaf. It's like a long kid. It's like called Polly or something.
Called what?
Polly.
Okay, hang on.
Just look up like the Pepsi girl.
I'm looking it up right now.
But anyway, they used to like call me that, and I would suck.
In case we didn't know how susceptible she is to caring about social approval, she would cry because they called her the Pepsi girl? Really? That's not even that insulting, right? Again, validating the blueprint we have. She cares a lot about social validation. She cares a lot about fitting in.
I would get so upset.
Oh, I remember. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
This
I
one?
had that hair as a kid.
That one?
Yeah. They were like making fun of me, but she's a really unattractive now though.
Is she
So
really?
it's even more of an insult.
Oh.
Well, it's not an insult then, like she's a cute little girl, but they used
Yeah.
to do it in like a teasing way, and I would get so upset. I'm a very mean family.
Fair enough. We got a big family too, so we're big-ish, 6 people.
How big? Do you have a big family? You're an only child.
I mean, I act as conceited as an. Why would I point out that I act conceited? What am I trying to do there? Well, if you think about it, like conceited is not a good thing. It's inherently like a bad trait, right? However, what type of people can be conceited and get away with it? The people that actually are really high value, right? Because they can get away with it because nobody stands up to them and tells them to shut the fuck up. There aren't really bad negative social repercussions if you're high value enough. So when I'm saying I'm conceited, da-da-da-da, now the conceited part isn't good, but look at the underlying meaning. Look at the message I'm conveying underneath. If I'm saying I'm conceited, I'm also implying all these other things about myself. Only child, but no, I'm the oldest. So yeah.
Do you get along with your siblings?
Currently,
Are they close in age?
3 years. So closer in age than we are. So
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to point it out, but alright.
the point is they're too far apart for us to get along, so you and I are clearly not going to get along. Just throwing it out there.
Did you think this was getting along? Because this isn't.
I was kind of like, I'm just going to invite her out and use her for some witty banter and an engaging evening, and then we'll leave
I'm
it
going
at
to
that.
find my entertainment in this girl, like, whether it's laughing with her, at her, it's just going to happen some way, like, whatever.
Exactly. You're like the thinnest person. I swear.
Not that thin. It's all natural.
What does that even mean? It's all natural.
I don't eat healthy and I don't work out,
Okay.
so it's natural.
It's natural.
Biological.
It's biological. You're designed to be thin. You would not do well in Africa.
No, I would do awesome. I'd fit in.
You're adorable.
I get like yelled at to like gain weight.
Really? And you tried. You're like, I'm trying. Look, I don't work out. I eat all the
I
time.
have like, I think normal eating habits.
So here's an interesting little blueprint factor here. So she's talking about how small she is, right? And then she's talking about people saying they can pick her up, people like sort of like manhandling her physically a little bit, that kind of stuff. Friends maybe guys that like are interested in her, whatever. Here's an interesting and little known fact. Girls who are taller don't get this as much, and girls who are super intimidating don't get this as much, right? Because guys don't feel like with the taller guys don't feel they can just like physically like dominate and manhandle, so they don't bother with it. For girls that are like intimidatingly hot or girls that have an intimidating look about them, guys don't try that shit because guys are like too scared to even touch them. Guys are too scared to even talk to them, that kind of stuff. So her saying this, she's saying that throughout her life, guys have not been super intimidated by her. Now, what does this mean in terms of how you're going to game her? Well, Every girl has a blueprint where you need some amount of value, some amount of comfort, right? Now, the girls who guys are just intimidated by, just being normal with them already is a lot of value, right? And most guys can't manage it, and so they're going to have a very value-centric sort of system because so few guys will be able to be normal around them, so few guys will hit their like value scale. Girls who a lot of guys are not as intimidated by, even if they're really cute girls, even if they're really cool girls, if guys are not typically intimidated around them, a lot of guys can be fairly normal around them. And so a lot of guys will act in a way that will trigger enough value with them. So they're going to have kind of a wider range of guys they can choose from, and they're not going to pick necessarily the absolute highest value guy. What they're going to choose is the guy who hits the value threshold high enough and then builds a lot of comfort with them. So her saying this about guys, picking her up, dominating her physically, that kind of stuff, is indicating to me that her blueprint, based on her past history and based on what she's experienced in life, is more likely to be a little bit more comfort-centric, like she really needs to get to know someone, and a little bit less likely to be super value-centric. This is also in line with other things she said before, being sort of fitting in socially, things where she's not like trying to like stand out and be the best and be super ambitious. These all indicate comfort-centric blueprints. I didn't mean that in a bad way in any way, shape, or form.
You're like, oh, I really don't care.
You're over it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're delicate and dainty. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
That said, I could also like do like overhead presses with you and.
No, because I hate being picked up. Because people think they can pick me up and then they drop me.
Who dropped you? That's mean.
I've been dropped several times because people will be like drunk. I've been like thrown off a porch into a pile of snow because like they can. It's not that fluffy.
No, it's not. It's a little funny though.
And because they're drunk and they're just like, what can we do with Kristen today? Yeah. Fun time.
Again,
it's difficult being this tiny. It's not easy.
Sorry. So many sob stories. I have so much sympathy for you right now. Got made fun of as the Pepsi girl. You get thrown around.
I had to get most of my clothes tailored.
Really? Interesting.
Well, I have to find like 00, petite, extra small, and then wear it in an oversized fashion way.
Never tried just like off the.
Hope it shrinks in the wash.
Never tried just going off the kids' rack?
It doesn't really fit my style.
I'm just messing with you. I actually like your style. For like if you want a genuine compliment, I actually do like your style.
Thank you.
That's from.
I do alright. It's a mix. I don't think I could like say I dress in a certain way.
Alright. So here's my plan for you, because I do enjoy engaging with your wit. Okay. So my plan was we're gonna have maybe one more drink here, and then, assuming it's still open, which it should be, there's a bookstore around the corner, which like reminds me of the past because nowadays it's all Amazon. But I thought I would take the witty, marginally educated girl to the bookstore. And I actually, if I were smart, I would have planned ahead what my favorite books are, but I have no idea. But I would show you a book or two I like. You could show me a book or two you like. You can see if like we enjoy each other.
What type of novels do you like?
What type of novels?
This is what I want to do. No matter how many people tell me it's like not a good choice, I'm gonna do it.
I like it. Plus you're cute. You can always marry rich. You'll be fine.
What?
I said plus you're cute. You can always just marry rich. You'll be fine.
I would not marry rich. Just to marry rich. That would.
So her aversion to the idea of marrying rich is again another thing that is societally correct, right? It's very politically correct, what you're supposed to say. It also indicates the comfort-centric blueprint as opposed to the value-centric blueprint. Girls that are much more value-centric, they're like, I want the hottest guy, the richest guy, the guy with the best resume, da-da-da-da-da, because they're looking at the guy as like, is this guy a win? Whereas she's looking at it more as like, is this an experience? Is it real love? That kind of thing. So again, more of the comfort-centric blueprint. I mean, I've kind of hammered this in already a lot. So I think we know kind of what her blueprint is. But the point is, all these indicators, if you see them with other girls, are things that are going to indicate that kind of a blueprint as well. I like that you added the last part.
I mean, if I was in love with someone and they happen to be rich, like, awesome for them.
I know. I like the last part. That was good. Because, like, it was just well put.
Thanks.
So you're not going to hate me if I'm successful?
No, I already did.
It's all right.
No,
we have one of these kind of relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
I won't take your shit. You won't take my shit. We'll fight all the time. There'll be all this tension. No one will know where it'll go. Yeah.
Constantly fighting.
It'll be the kind of thing where, like,
we're both always wrong.
We just hate each other the whole time, but we just can't, like, stop talking about each other.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of, like, weird, like, romantic comedy movie where everybody's like, why don't the two of you just, like, you know. The obvious thing to be there was, why don't you guys just go get a room, or why don't you guys just fuck already, or something like that. But now, when you're talking with girls, you want to be very careful about avoiding certain sort of red flag words or being too explicit. And so instead of saying the actual word, I just implied the word, right? And the reason I did that is because I want to, as long as she's playing along with this, like, us together, relationship-y, like, sort of like dream world, fantasy world that I'm creating, I don't want to, like, jar her out of it by her being, no, you can't say that, that's not proper. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. So again, I'm trying to avoid raising the red flags. So that's why I sort of just trailed off instead of finishing the sentence, right? Now, there are times when it can be right to finish those sentences with offensive words, and that would be for a different reason. That would be earlier on when you still don't necessarily know you have enough comfort, or you don't know you have enough value with the girl. Sometimes you want to be intentionally offensive just to show you don't give a fuck, right? But here, there's plenty of value. There's no need for any of that. And raising the red flags would be a very bad idea.
How about you just cut it out? Yeah. Call it quits now. What? You're looking at me very intently.
I'm not really sure where this belongs in this breakdown or in the verbal game breakdown. It's a little bit of both. But one really, really useful thing you can do is point out a girl's subconscious mannerisms that she's doing, because it's something that she's going to be, like, insecure about. It's going to put her in her head a little bit. It's also something she can't really help. And if she starts thinking about them, then, again, it's going to put her in her head. But also, when she does them accidentally, it's going to be like callback humor. So it's going to basically put her back into that state of being reactive to you over and over again subconsciously, just without you even having to do any more work, right? The absolute best one to do is if she has a subconscious mannerism that she does to, like, sort of release tension, like, or the one that she does when she particularly, like, gets attracted. The fact that she's noticed she was doing it is going to increase the attraction, increase the tension. And so she's literally doing this thing that's designed to relieve her of tension and, like, get her kind of, like, calm down when she's attracted. And then she's going to notice she did it. She's going to remember the tease, and that's going to create more tension and more attraction. So the very thing that's going to get her she's trying to do unconsciously to get her unattracted or relieve the tension is actually increasing the attraction and tension. It's this nice little, like, feedback loop that you can have going on in your favor. So if you can figure out what the behavior is that she does to do that, you can sort of, like, booby trap it in your favor. It's a kind of I don't know if it's like a nefarious technique or whatever, but it's very, very, very effective. I like the squints. I like your hair a lot, actually. I usually do not like curly hair, but I like your hair a lot.
Picked a good wig tonight.
Did you? I'm glad. Keep it. It suits you.
Wait, you don't normally care for hair, is that what you said?
I don't usually like curly hair, but you actually pull it off well. That's a little... In that case, I thank you. You're very sweet to me.
I rolled out of bed this way.
I know. I can tell. Adorable. You're welcome. So how did I know she was ready to be kissed? All right, well, it was a couple different things. One, she was flustered, remember the squinting thing and that kind of stuff, and then she was kind of like justifying herself to me. So the combination of qualifying herself to me and flustered means that she's emotionally reactive. Now, did I know absolutely she's ready to be kissed at that moment? Not necessarily, but I knew that like things were good and she might be ready for something, so that's why I take her hand and start pulling her in, and then because of her reaction to that, then I know that going for a kiss is probably okay. Right, but that moment when she gets a little bit flustered, especially if she's qualifying herself, trying to justify herself, and gets flustered in the process, or vice versa, she gets very flustered and starts trying to justify herself. Either of those are great moments to go ahead and try and escalate in some way.
Any more drinks?
I literally can't decide whether I want to like when I look at you, I can't decide whether I kiss you or like give you a fucking noogie.
Well, that is a first for me.
You're welcome.
New territory.
New territory?
Yeah.
No, I mean it's definitely different than most people I meet.
Why? Do you think that you have a type and I don't fit that?
I didn't even just say girls.
I'm just saying, but in general, I didn't say a girl type either. You can have a friend type, but he typically interacts with. You can look for something in the people you talk to.
So it's funny. In what I do and who I interact with, one of the biggest things I try and look for is people who think for themselves. But the problem, this gonna sound arrogant, but deal with it. The problem is I'm a very strong personality and strong influence. And so as much as people maybe do think for themselves, a lot of people are drawn to me because of the way I think and because of who I am. And so they either already think like me or they start thinking more like me the longer they're with me. And it's refreshing that with you, I know that there are many, many topics that we would debate on. But the one thing I would respect about you regardless is I know whatever opinion you give me would be your own and not some opinion that you're just trying to like please me with. And I appreciate that.
Good. I'm pretty stubborn and I'm not gonna give up things.
I like the expressions. What's this ring?
It's my high school class ring.
I figured it was something like that. A little bit.
Yeah.
So two interesting things here. The first one is, again, I'm doing the implicit bragging. So I'm talking about a problem I have in life, but what does this problem imply? This problem of people always like becoming too much like me and boring me. What is that problem? It's the problem that a charismatic, high-value leader guy would have. All right, so I'm talking about, this problem I have. What am I actually doing? The implication is I'm a leader, people follow me, I have high social value, etc. So again, I'm saying things in a negative that's implying a very, very positive. So this is a great way, again, to convey all those attractive male characteristics in a way that's not at all bragging. However, the other thing that's really, really interesting here is the whole compliment that I just gave her about her saying her own thing, not doing the societal thing, not just, voicing other people's opinions. I kind of said, like, in a way, implied it not being just politically correct, okay? Now, the funny thing is, I already know, based on her blueprint, she is very, very politically correct. I also, though, know that she is sarcastic and willing to be offensive. And I don't want her to be politically correct. I do not want a politically correct girl. One, because I don't like politically correct people. But two, because politically correct people don't lead to one-night stands. So what am I doing? I'm taking this one part of her that's not politically correct, and I'm giving her massive compliments on it in a way that I'm saying the thing I like about it is that you're not politically correct. So what am I doing? I'm showing her the path to my approval, right? I'm saying, this is what I like about you. These are the things that turn me on. These are the things that I enjoy with you, and that encourages her to do more and more of them, right? It's similar to like if you're in bed with a girl and you want the girl to do certain things that you like in bed, you like moan positively when she does those things. You say, I like that. That feels good. Right? So what am I doing? I'm choosing the behaviors that I want her to start to exhibit more of around me, and I'm specifically complimenting her for those behaviors. And I'm actually going a bit further with it. I'm specifically undermining the behaviors I don't like, the sort of politically correct, not thinking for yourself behavior. So this is, I call it like girlfriend training, or the NLP term would be pacing and leading. But I'm basically teaching her how to be the person I want her to be in this interaction. Enjoy your
A
life.
lot of people don't like this about me.
Like, what about you? That you have, like, no standards? No. That's a mean way of putting it. I said that you have no standards. That's a mean way of
I
putting
think
it.
I have standards.
No, my question for you, actually, the no standards thing is just a joke. But my question was, do you find that when you go through the world that way, that people walk all over you? Because I would be, if I were in your shoes, I'd be, like, concerned about that approach. In the sense that, let's say, like, for me, for example, okay? Like, obviously, I'm charming and amazing and wonderful. Everyone can tell that. But let's say, hypothetically, let's say instead I were, like, some sort of, like, you know, narcissistic asshole or something, which I'm clearly not. But let's say hypothetically. So if you were to, like, say we, you know, became some kind of relationship, and you were to just forgive me every time I do something wrong, that could be detrimental to your well-being.
Okay, no, that is like different. So I think that like
you look so thoughtful. I'll give you a moment.
so I think that like I'm really open to meeting new people.
Do you want to do one more round before that?
Yeah.
One more. So this is something that's been happening pretty regularly throughout the entire interaction. I just haven't pointed it out until now. Which is, I call it escalation of the pronoun, right? So you start off talking about yourself, then maybe you're talking about her, and you're talking about you and her as separate people, and then eventually you're talking about we. You're talking about the two of you together, right? Talking about we're going to do this, or if we had this, that kind of stuff. Once you can bridge the gap to we, now you're forming a relationship with her. And when she starts saying we also, that's when you're really in, right? But that's a form of escalation that most guys are not very aware of, and most guys massively underutilize, right? The I to you to we escalation is massively useful. And it can be done in the negative, we won't get along, it can be done in teasing or whatever, but once you can bring up this word we, and even more to the point, once she brings up the word, or when she reciprocates, I guess, the word we, then you're really in business, things are really going well.
I think like I can like separate that, and like that's
What about
fine.
with yourself?
With myself? No, people are like assholes to me all the time. I'm very passive aggressive about things. And I also think I'm very good at being an asshole back. If someone wants to be an asshole to me, fine. Be an asshole. But I don't. There's not many people I spend time with who I think are.
Just kidding. I love your answer.
No, I'm gonna finish.
No, you can finish. No, I'm not
Okay.
telling you not to finish. I love your answer.
Thanks.
I'm pleased. No. Don't kiss me. Finish your answer. I'm actually curious.
Okay, we're doing it in this. Okay, so if people are assholes to me, I don't find that. How do I phrase this? I don't find that like people are just like actually assholes 24/7. I think they might be assholes when they're like out in public and trying to be a certain way. But I tend to have a lot of like guy speaking wise, I tend to have a lot of guy friends, and like some of our time might be hanging out just like one-on-one where we like talk and I actually like know what's going on in their life. So I like hold that perspective of when I'm one-on-one with something as when they're around everyone else. And I think the same about like girls. Like girls can definitely be like fucking bitches. I don't get along with most girls. I don't have a lot of girlfriends.
Really, that's interesting. Actually, I philosophically love your outlook. I feel like it's an outlook that's going to lead to like you being miserable sometimes, but also when you're happy, you'll probably be really happy.
Yeah.
So there's not a ton of things I want to point out specifically here that won't already be obvious to you. And the reason why they'd be obvious to you is, one, I've either pointed them out as to her blueprint before, or two, because we are explicitly discussing her blueprint. So her blueprint now is not some subtle thing that's hard for me to determine. She's actually talking about it. I've asked the right questions, got her opened up in the right way, that she's telling me her blueprint. She's telling me how she interacts with people, how she interacts with friends. This isn't necessarily her sexual blueprint as yet, but I've said before many, many times, a girl will tell you how to sleep with her. This is her literally telling me how to relate with her and sort of, through that, how to sleep with her, right? This is a great place to get to with a girl when the blueprint is no longer subtext, but it's actually text. She's just literally telling you what she likes, what she doesn't like, and tell you what you like, what you don't like. It's kind of similar to like once you're already having sex with a girl, like once you've had sex the first time, you can kind of be like, hey, in bed I like this, can you do this, that kind of stuff, right? Usually don't do that pre-sex that much, because sex, you know, for the girl, she wants to feel like it just happened and whatnot. But once you have that logical agreement that you like each other and you can share these kind of things, that's very, very positive.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I agree with the statement. I feel like you and I are like going to be. I feel like you and I are going to be like philosophical, like you know. What do you mean in a wholesome way?
In like the idea of that, or like that you can respect someone who's voting opposite party of you.
Oh, of course. I mean, I'm hanging out with you, right?
Am I voting opposite party of you?
I don't know. I didn't mean voting opposite party. I mean like.
No, like, you know.
I think you and I philosophically disagree on certain things, but I respect how you've come to your beliefs. If that makes sense. And I actually think, I mean, it's jury out. I just met you, right? But I think I actually enjoy you as a person.
Thanks, maybe, probably not. So
You know.
I'm good to attach.
No, I know.
It's all downhill from here. This is like good first impressions.
I mean, I like you, but let's take it slow. I don't want to rush into things.
Yeah.
I'm a very shy boy,
Obviously.
and while I enjoy you, I find you attractive. I think we could have tons of fun together. I think that
Maybe.
we should, you know, take things slow and cater to the fact that I'm a shy boy and I have to protect my fragile heart.
Do you think I have nothing to protect? Who do you think I am? You're making assumptions about me and presumptions.
So what you just saw there is the effect of me giving her resistance before she can give it, right? It's a common tactic in game, which is whatever excuses the girl's gonna have, if you have them first, she can't have them, right? Because they've already been had. Now you see how the girl's gonna respond to that though, because she's so used to those being her outs and her lines. When I say it, she's like, what makes you think that I'm not that thing? And but you notice she's constantly on the back foot here, right? This is why it's so useful to know kind of general female psychology, to know the general things that are going to come up, and to be able to use those to your advantage. And again, you see precisely what the effect is here. I'm not going to kiss you this time. I want this. Am I?
Thanks.
No, legitimately. You and I are philosophically different.
Tell me
but
why
I
we're
actually like you.
philosophically different.
Huh?
Why are we philosophically different?
We're not as much as I thought, actually.
Okay.
Going into the day, I thought we were more philosophically different than we are.
Why? What was your first impression that made you think that?
First impression, I thought you were like a blanket anti-capitalist.
No.
I know. You're actually like, you're a lot more thought out than I thought. Like you're actually.
Not. I have some depth.
All right.
I
give you a compliment.
I
Like,
told
fuck
you I'm a
off.
sarcastic asshole. Like, just go with it.
I mean, be a sarcastic asshole, but like not in the middle of a
No,
compliment.
I'm pretty.
Just it's like a self-preservation thing. In the middle of a compliment, let the compliment flow.
I can't.
No, you're like,
Pull
what?
it out of me. No,
I need to like nitpick
I
it.
believe in capitalism. I
You're doing what?
do. Capitalism.
Oh yeah, okay, good. Here's my like vision.
Okay.
Okay.
I get like told I have an accent like all the time, but it's cool. Sometimes I embrace it.
You hate being teased.
I do. No, I prefer being the tease.
Why?
That's the fun role.
Maybe it's so much more effort though. Think of it this way.
Maybe it's just natural to me.
Here, come here. We can both tease each other for a second, but I'm gonna tell you something, okay?
Yeah, what are you gonna tell me?
So the deal is this. Both teasing and being teased are fun. But think of like the teaser as the composer of the symphony. They have to like create the experience.
Yeah.
Whereas the teasee can just enjoy and embrace
No.
the experience.
Yeah,
You like being in charge, huh?
The teaser is the one in charge, exactly.
You like being in control?
Sometimes. Not all the time.
I'll tell you a secret. I'm not gonna kiss you, but I'll tell you a
Tell
secret.
me a secret.
I promise. Even though it's contrary to my nature, if you really want to be in control, I'll let you be in control occasionally.
Thanks.
So two big things here. One, I told you before that she was telling me her blueprint, but not her sexual blueprint. Now she's telling me her sexual blueprint, and now I kind of know how to work with it, how to work around it, that kind of stuff. And it is interesting because she wants to tease, but at the same time she's responding to being teased. She likes to feel in charge a little bit, but she also wants the man to take a leadership role. So she's kind of a confused little girl. But it's good to keep in mind all these factors. And basically what it really comes down to is she doesn't want the extremes of any of it, right? So she likes to be teased, but she doesn't like to be teased to the point that it's like she's obviously being teased and she's out of control. She likes to have some control, but that said, she wants a man to take a leadership. So she doesn't want the guy to like completely relinquish control to the fact that she has hard decisions, right? So she just really wants that middle road. That's how I would read all this. The other very interesting thing is you'll notice that when I did the come here to kiss, there was kind of a pause, kind of a lag time on that. And then I'd be like, I'm not going to kiss you, come here, whatever. That's a very good indicator for me that I've kissed her too much. Okay, I've kissed too much at this point. It's time to chill out, kiss a bit less, build more tension, because I'm on the border of becoming a little too obvious in that regard, right? So it's something I want to be very conscientious of now.
There's only like one other way where I prefer control. We're getting into this.
Do you really think she didn't want to tell me that? Really? If she didn't want to tell me, she wouldn't have brought it up. But why did she hesitate? She hesitated because it was a little bit slutty. She needed me to like force her to tell me, right? So interestingly enough, again, girls want to tell you these things. Girls want to tell you what they like sexually. Girls want to open up to you sexually. If they're attracted to you, of course they want that. But again, it's your job to make it not their fault. It's your job to make them not slutty if it happens.
I love giving blowjobs because of the control aspect.
Because you're in control of the experience, so to speak.
And because like they need this from me.
Need is a strong word, but I definitely enjoy a good blowjob, so fair enough.
But in that moment you need it, or I guess you could have sex, but like you need to get off in some fashion.
Okay.
So it's like an aspect, a want.
Strong desire. How's that?
You know, I guess I've been blowing the wrong people. It's always a want.
I've been blowing the wrong people. Can I quote you on that? That's like the best quote of ever. I guess I've been blowing the wrong people. That sounds like some kind of LA starlet who's trying to like sleep her way to the top. I guess I've been blowing the wrong people.
Were you not picking up on that?
Oh my God.
I'm sleeping my way to the top.
Clearly.
Halfway there.
You're like, you've slept your way to the middle? Strong work.
In the bell curve.
Oh man. I should not enjoy you nearly as much as I do. I really shouldn't. Huh?
I think I'm an enjoyable person. Why should you not enjoy me?
Because as cute, adorable, and witty as you are, you're kind of fucking trouble.
How so? Define this like troubling aspect about me.
Well, first of all, you like to be in control.
No, I don't like to be in control. I like to be a tease.
Okay, fair enough.
I think that's different.
So wait, you like to be out of control but a tease?
I like to be a tease in a tease setting.
Okay.
And I like the control of the blowjob. Other than that, I don't like to be.
Okay.
I'm very indecisive and I don't make decisions also. So I don't think that's like a controlling aspect. I'm very go with the flow.
Okay. So hypothetically.
Give it to me. Preparing.
Good choice of words, by the way. Give it to me. So hypothetically, if we were intimate. Not that I'm saying that's necessarily going to happen, because, you know, me and my fragile heart and whatnot. But hypothetically. So, if I let you control and tease me through the blowjob stage, and then took control and fucked you better than you've ever been fucked, you'd be okay with that experience?
Yeah, that's the perfect.
Just checking. I mean, I think we should take it slow, but I'm open to the
We are
possibilities.
taking it slow.
Yes.
There are no possibilities at this point. I'm a nice little Catholic.
Cheers. Some stuff.
Like, preferably, I like to be on the edge of the bed.
The edge?
Yeah.
Oh, like the outside?
Yeah, the outside.
So I'm not right or left side, I'm outside.
Outside. I'm not in and out of that.
Meaning you like to be in control? You like to be in control of
No,
when
I
you
just
go
like
and
an
leave?
escape route.
Fair enough. Well, that said, if at any point you feel the need for an escape route with me, you're free to go.
I think I'm adjustable.
I think I'm adjustable, though. I think that's a better answer. That's a big key to her blueprint. Like, we've been talking explicitly about, like, you know, a bunch of little sexual blueprint things. I have some idea of you know, what she wants in bed, what she'd be like in bed. I love the fact that we're discussing these things. But I think I'm adjustable. That's key for a couple reasons. One, it is kind of true to her blueprint. But also, I just kind of threw out this question, you know, which side of the bed do you sleep on? As like a qualifying question, as in like, do you sleep on the right side of the bed that like we could actually sleep in the same bed together, right? And so she gives kind of what she thinks is, you know, her answer. And she's like, wait, I don't want to give the wrong answer. Wait, I'm adjustable, right? So it's a really strong buy-in that I don't want to give the wrong answer. I'm really into you, that kind of stuff. And it also is, in this case, an indication of her actual blueprint because she is very like wishy-washy, wants to be led, that kind of stuff.
I think that is like the better
answer.
Scenario, yeah. What do you prefer? Do you prefer the right?
So I'm naturally right-handed, but so there's that. But I actually, strangely enough, prefer the right side of the bed and like going like left. Like I like a little left-sided snuggle, if you know what I mean.
Okay, if I'm in the bed alone, I sleep diagonally.
Like across the whole leg.
And it's not on purpose.
So that means that means if you ever go to bed first, I'm gonna come to bed and I'll be like, what the fuck is this? I can't even get it.
I'm a super deep sleeper, so like
I'll
push me aside.
Just move you. So I was gonna take you to a bookstore and go like peruse a little bit, and then come have one more drink with you, just because I'm not hating your company, interestingly enough. However,
I have a first. Can I get that in writing for references later? In case
I will
someone
totally.
says they do hate me in company and be like,
I will write you the most like effusive, positive bullshit reference if you ever want. I'll write it from my company too if you want, okay? And pretend you worked for us.
I'll start putting that down on my apps. Looking for a part-time job.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I have no reputation to lose on that regard. So whatever. It's a small company. It's not like it's Microsoft, but if it carries weight, you're welcome to it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
What I was gonna say is, we can do the bookstore thing, or here's a random question: do you use Audible?
What?
Do you know what Audible is? How do you not know what Audible is?
Oh my god, who am I? I don't know.
You of like, I got my books read to me until 6th grade. You don't know what Audible is?
Is it just like audiobooks?
It's like
No,
audiobooks.
I don't like that.
You don't like that? Really? Why not?
I'm a very visual person, so I don't
Okay.
like podcasts that much.
Okay.
And I listened to Serial, or the first season of it, still wasn't like a fan. I fell asleep through a lot of the like episodes, whatever. I'm a very visual person, and I prefer that. So please tell me about Audible.
It's fine. I feel very objectified right now, though. Just knowing that you're a visual person. I thought you liked me for my wit and personality, but now I realize you just think I'm cute.
Obviously not. No, but I like the connection. Like I like reading the words off the book or a page. Whatever.
Really? All right. You and I are going around the corner. We're going to find one or two books we like. But then we're coming back here because I want to have another drink with you because I enjoy you. You cool with that?
Yeah, maybe. You might not enjoy me after my book preference, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. It's quite possible I won't.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep, let's do it though.
Let's do it. All right, fair enough.
Check out the
Yeah, I already got the bill. It's fine.
Thank you.
No worries.
I don't think I need to get you drunk to take advantage of
So you think I'm easy? I'm a
you.
little
No, I didn't
offended.
say that. I said I get what I want.
Really?
Always.
In terms of action or in terms of quality? So a couple of things. She just indicated something about her blueprint, which is she always gets what she wants. That's not necessarily true, but it's something she'd like to envision as being true. Right? When someone says things about themselves, they're not necessarily telling you the truth. They're telling you what they would like to have be the truth. She would like it to be the case that she always gets what she wants, because that would make her like, you know, a high value person. It would mean that she's winning at life, winning in love, that kind of shit. So that's all very, very useful. Then notice a lot of what I'm doing here. I'm doing a lot of disqualifying. So the thing is, we spent so long on this date. There's been so much like a lot of escalation, a lot of us agreeing that we like each other, etc. what I'm worried about, I'm not worried about her not liking me, she likes me. I'm not worried about her not being aroused, she's aroused. I'm not worrying about her not thinking I'm attractive and being turned on, she's turned on. What I'm worried about is that it all becomes a little too comfortable, right? I don't want it to become so comfortable that it's like a foregone conclusion, we're gonna go do this thing, and then there's no anticipation, no excitement around it. And especially given this I always get what I want, she wants it to be a win, right? I want to make sure that there's enough challenge present that it's always a win for her. I don't want it to become too comfortable. I don't want to be too obvious. I don't want to be a foregone conclusion, right? If she 100% knows she has me, she'll lose interest. I have to make sure there's always that sexual tension.
In terms of persistence.
What I meant is there's getting me and then there's getting my best effort.
That's a different side to it now. Because your best effort is for me to be hard to get, because then you're giving your best effort.
It's totally over my head. I missed that completely. I probably didn't hear you, to be fair.
So you're saying your best effort or you? But I feel like your best effort would be your chase to me. Because that's where you put in the more effort when it's not as easy for you.
Spoken like a true tease. That's funny. That's not even... You're in a completely different category that I'm in, but that's funny.
I like the spoken by a true tease.
That's funny. I hadn't even looked at it from the perspective you're looking at it, because I'm never... Anyway.
But there's a million ways perspective.
I'll tell you how I actually meant it. I meant the quality man is interesting, getting him and having him, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I acknowledge that, and I found the loophole in your sentence.
As long as we were clear on what I actually meant.
Speaking quality.
Well, you're talking about getting me drunk and taking advantage of me, or taking advantage of me non-drunk. I'm like, it's a matter of quality of effort.
Yeah.
I mean, A, I'm not that easy. I think we should take it slow. But if I did deliver, I would endeavor to do my best for you.
A, I am very much not easy. I don't think I need a B.
I don't think I need a B. It's funny.
At this juncture.
There's a meme I saw once upon a time. It said, benefits of dating me. Number one, you'll be dating me. I could go on, but I think I've proven my point. Yeah. It's kind of how I feel about life sometimes. So I have a question for you. Do you think two people who enjoy teasing and being teased can actually get along intimately? Or do you think it would just be frustrating for everybody?
I think there's a lot that goes into getting along intimately, and I think that there's different aspects of getting along intimately.
This isn't a thesis, so it was just a casual question.
I'm just telling you. Let me tell you.
I'm about to get a 5-paragraph essay out of this shit.
I'm about to make my solid point.
Okay.
Is that from my experience, there are two types of people. Those who take intimacy very seriously, and those who take it in a playful sense. Where there's laughing involved and jokes involved and whatever, or those who we're getting down to business, this is going to be this and that and whatever, and if you laugh that kills the mood or anything, and I think that is more important, matching with the same type of person, than compatibility wise in that aspect than other things. Makes sense.
Do you think the same person can be different with different people?
Yes, and I think that also the same person or the same two people can be different in different aspects in different situations.
So you're saying we don't have to be
time of
vanilla
moment.
every
I
time?
don't think we-
So obviously, this is more of her sexual blueprint, more of how she views sex, that kind of stuff, which is good and useful information. The thing I want to point out is that I'm always taking the frame of the abundant guy. I'm always taking the frame of the guy that would fall into the lover frame rather than the provider frame. I'm always taking the frame of the guy for whom sex is not as much of a big deal, those kind of things. But that said, I'm not explicitly stating it. I'm sort of asking her the leading questions to get her to state it and get her to go there, because I don't want to be claiming to be good in bed because that's bragging and that's try hard. And I don't want to be claiming to be the guy that just has a ton of girls or whatever, because that's politically incorrect, can raise red flags, that kind of stuff. So what I'm doing is I'm asking questions that imply my point of view. So I'm conveying my personality, actually, interestingly enough, through questions. But the personality I'm conveying, and this is the point I'm making here, is that it's always the personality of the lover, not the provider.
You have to commit to anything, but like when you look at initial intimacy, two people need to acknowledge initial stuff like that in the same way. And I think it can kind of be like going on a date with someone who is like going to get to know you and enjoy you, or going on a date with someone who's looking for a relationship. And I think that can be like a comparison to intimacy.
Which one are you?
I'm playful.
Good. So I'm both.
I think I could.
But I would never want to start too intimate. I'd rather start playful and become intimate rather than the other way around.
No, definitely.
I am open to whatever, but like, I don't think it should start like all fucking heavy.
So socially awkward and insecure
Really?
that I needed to be a joke in order for me to feel comfortable in the situation. Just a little self-analysis right there for you.
Fair enough. I appreciate that. I promise I won't see you. Come here. I appreciate these things. I like the lighthearted side of it.
Thanks.
I do. Legitimately, all honesty, I legitimately don't know if there's any possibility of anything super deep between us, but I fucking enjoy you. You're welcome.
Appreciate it. I'm alright.
Yeah? Good. I genuinely do. Like, I have a soft spot for banter and I have a soft spot for sarcasm, so how could I not at least play like a little...
I'm hitting all of them! It's like a good game of whack-a-mole.
I didn't tell you all my soft spots, but I will say, like, oh god, I feel like I'm being psychoanalyzed now. What I'm saying is, how could I not enjoy you, given all that?
Exactly.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that I think you enjoy me equally, so that's a good thing. You have a smug grin on your face. Don't read too much into it. I'm not that easy.
You say that saying that I'm easy, or under the impression that I am.
No, I didn't say anything about you.
I know.
I made no implication.
That in those terms.
Not at all.
I'm just joking with you. I'm not trying to like.
Not at all. I think that it would be delectable for you and I to tease, torment, verbally engage, and enjoy each other to the absolute utmost. Beyond that, I have no expectations. Fair? Beyond that, what happens, happens. But again, I prefer the playful over the super serious and foregone conclusion-y, deep, heavy shit.
Like, in the loosest sense of the word, talk to someone right now?
What do you mean, talk to someone? You wanna like go consult, like go phone a friend or some shit?
No, like I do know.
Yes, I do.
Talk to someone to casually date. I don't know what we do. He lives in Philly, like whatever. But there like is someone that, yeah, that's what I do. I don't know what it is. Does that make sense? Maybe like.
So now she brings up the boyfriend. This is classic. Happens so often this way where the girl, you know, she wants to relieve herself of the burden. She wants it to be not her fault. She wants to be not a bad person, that sort of thing. Obviously, she likes me. Obviously, she's been making out with me, that kind of stuff. So I need to handle the boyfriend situation the right way. And there's a couple things with it. Number one, a lot of guys will be like, I'm better than him and try and compete with him. Not really a good way to go. It creates, first of all, it's reactive, it's comparative, it's a win-lose frame, like somebody's winning, somebody's losing. What I usually go with here is I go with the vibe of, cool, we're just hanging out and having a good time, so it doesn't really matter that much. I'm not trying to replace him, not trying to be your boyfriend anyway. If I was, I'd probably be better than him, like, let's be fair, but, you know, let's just get to know each other, let's just have fun, etc. What I'm mostly trying to do is show the girl that there's not a loss for hanging out with me, right? So if she were to hook up with me, it would not hurt her chances with this boy. It would not hurt. I would not like try and like get all attached and clingy and replace the dude. I mean, what's going to sell her right now is not me telling her the upside's so good. It's going to be telling her that there's no downside, because that's what she's worried about. She wants the upside. She wouldn't have been here this long. She wouldn't be bringing it up. So I want to have that frame of no downside. The other thing I want to do is I definitely want to be in the lover frame, because girls are very biologically programmed to have one nice, sweet provider guy who they have an emotional connection with, and then have a lover guy who they get like amazing sex from, right? That's a very biologically programmed female response. And she's basically telling me, this is the situation I'm in, so this is the role available, right? Now, that's not what she thinks she's saying literally, but if you read underneath the lines and read the blueprint, that's what she's saying. She's saying, well, the boyfriend role is taken at the moment, but I have this lover role available if you're willing and able to be the right kind of guy for it. And then what I need to do is demonstrate that I'm that kind of guy. So if you watch what's going to transpire from here, that's what I'm kind of indicating, is that role, no consequences, all those kind of things.
21st century.
I didn't quite catch all that, but anyway.
So anyway, there's someone I talk to who lives in Philly.
Okay.
We see each other.
That's fine.
Whatever comes with that, we talk. I don't know where that's progressing to. I still obviously casually date and whatnot.
Can I tell you, I have no concerns on that for like many reasons. One, I just met you.
No, I
Two,
agree. I just like, and
Two,
no, I'm very open to full disclosure, and I hate people being like, wait, you didn't say that. Like, yourself, like, I can do whatever I want type of thing, but I like to be honest. I appreciate open communication in any form, whether it's with a stranger, whether it's with my best friend, in any form, and you're talking about getting attached.
let me talk. Come here.
I don't know how to let anyone else talk.
That's fine. Let me talk. So A, totally fine with that, don't care. Secondly, reasons I don't care. One, I just met you, and I like you, but God knows I've met you once.
Yeah.
Secondly, call me arrogant. I have full confidence that if I ever cared to, I would eclipse the fuck out of whoever if I cared to, but that said, I just met you, so I don't even know if I care to. Thirdly, what you said actually makes me feel more confident and relaxed and comfortable, because the fact of the matter is, with you in particular, because I enjoy you intellectually, I would love to like intimately snuggle and talk to you and just enjoy the ambiance of us without even like having to worry that you're gonna like, you know, try and take control of me by going down on me or something, because I know you like the blowjob. But to be fair, full disclosure, I think there are certain types of guys in the world that are very sexually focused because sex is scarce for them. And there are guys who, this is a frame I use so much. This frame that there are some guys for whom sex is scarce and like it's a big deal for them because they never get any of it. And then there are guys that, you know, having sex isn't a big deal, like because they have no shortage of sex. And so for them, they're kind of like over it. They're like, whatever, sex is great, but it's not the be all end all. Such a great frame, because if anybody else is in the opposite frame of that, the jealousy frame, you're reframing them as low value, pathetic, girls don't like them, etc., 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 right? So if anybody's in the boyfriend frame or the make rules frame or the provider frame or whatever, you just completely annihilated them because you just pointed out that massive value gap. Super, super, super useful. And also the fact that you are aware of the distinction, aware that these two categories exist, automatically the only type of person that could be aware these categories exist is someone who's in the lover category, right? So you're conveying secret society. You're conveying that you are the guy that gets it, which automatically is going to make her attracted to you. Are not as sexually focused because, I mean, I have very high standards, but if all I want to do is go out and have sex, it's not that hard for me, right? So I'm not that like concerned with that per se. I'm more concerned with, am I having a good time and am I like enjoying the getting to know you?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
No, that's definitely fair. And
so regardless of anything, whatever, let's
but
just
I also
enjoy
want
it.
to like say something else.
Let's just stop. Let me finish, and then I'll let me finish one sentence, and then I'll keep talking. Let's just enjoy getting to know each other with nothing signed in blood, no expectations. We'll let it go however far or however not far, and just fucking enjoy the process rather than think about an outcome.
Okay, no,
Is that fair?
I like.
Is that fair?
No, yes.
Okay,
I 100% agree with that.
Okay.
It's just,
And to be fair, I would, as much as like I'm sure you'd be very fun to like do all kinds of things with. I mean, teasing and tormenting would be equally fun, so I'm fine with that too.
So like I just try and like live like a very like honest, straightforward position.
Appreciate it.
And I just like am really enjoying hanging out with you. I think you're an awesome person, loving like the whole night and everything.
I enjoy you too.
But I want to like full disclosure. I am into this person that I'm speaking to. And I think there's this whole thing between like men and women where it's like, well, if you're not into like seeing me, then I don't want to talk to you and like.
I think that's retarded.
I think it is.
Like retarded's a bad word, like these days, but that's
like,
mentally challenged, if you will.
I feel like like I wouldn't want to like you ask to hang out again, and suddenly I'm in a relationship, and I'm like, well, I need to flower fry this or like whatever. If that like came to it or whatever, I'd like.
Honestly, with respect to that, this or whatever,
Okay.
I want like this is honest, okay? Like it's gonna sound like it might not be as honest, okay? I want you to do whatever most resonates with your values and your emotions. From moment A to moment Z.
Okay, but you have to
Deal?
acknowledge that most people are not like that. Most men are not like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I like to be honest.
I think guys.
I'm not saying this. Whatever. I would go on dates, whatever, and I also talk to someone consistently. I think it's whatever. But I'm just saying, like, if whatnot turns into something more, I would still want to be your friend, and I still have
agree.
A lot of fun hanging out with you.
So here's the deal. So listen, if you and I never ever had sex and we ended up being friends, that could be fun. As far as it goes, I'm a busy guy, but I'll fit you into my schedule. So I'm here and there. Here and there.
Sunday nights.
I'll invite you out when I have no plans.
When there's no one else better.
Damn, it's so modest of you. You should be like, I'm the best.
I mean, I like
Also-
to be straightforward about my position.
Stop. Also, if we were to like, hypothetically, well, this could happen because I'm not that easy, but if we were to hypothetically like hook up or whatever, and then you were like, I like this other guy on whatever intimate level, and then you wanted to be friends, if you could handle it, I don't know if you could, but if you could handle it, I could handle it.
Friends person.
Yeah, I could handle it if you could handle it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Or if you were like, Todd, I fucking love you, and you give it to me like nobody else, and I just want to replace. I can handle
can
that.
handle
Although
in a slower
I want to take it
process.
slow on that one because I just met you.
I would like to.
So obviously a lot of this stuff is dealing with setting the right frame around the boyfriend and whatnot. The one thing I really want to point out right now is lack of agenda, right? The whole like there's all these options. I really don't care that strongly between them. I'm fine with all of them. I'm happy in my life already. I don't need anything. That's a massively positive thing to be able to convey, all right? Obviously all those other stuff, I think you can kind of see where I'm going with it. How it's indicating that lover rather than boyfriend frame, how it's setting it up so that she can make a decision to have sex with me without feeling slutty about it, without being a bad person, etc. But I do want to really, really point out that sort of like that abundance and lack of attachment to the outcome and how valuable that is in communicating with girls, not just in this context, but in so many others.
Acknowledge
But
I've
I'm
never
open
been
to.
in that situation.
I want to tell you, I'm open to all three. I don't give a I care slightly,
Yeah.
but I don't care big time about one way or another. What I think, I honestly, so I'm an economist in a weird way.
Okay.
I'm an economist of life, and so I don't believe in like trying to restrain people through like this rule or this, that, or the other. I believe people should do what they think is best for them, and that you should motivate people through value rather than through restriction. Point being, I would never, ever, ever, like if you were ever hanging out with me, and you felt obligated to hang out with me, or there's some like kind of relational constraint to hang out with me, I would hate that.
No,
But,
definitely.
let me finish. Let me talk. But if I were ever like, if we're hanging out because like we enjoy each other's company and we whatever, I'm completely fine with that, regardless of whatever other relationships you or I have.
No,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely.
But I never, ever, like, if I ever, I won't do this, but if I ever were to try and restrain you through, like, we have this agreement, or, like, you should feel guilty about this, like, please punch me in the face.
No, okay,
Legitimately.
so, yeah, no.
Okay? I don't believe in that.
Okay, no, I want to like get my side. So
Okay, go.
I never let anyone tell me what to do. We could be in a relationship for 5 years, like whatever.
Obviously, when she starts saying this kind of stuff, it's just music to my ears. It's like, you know, she's basically saying, fuck this guy I'm dating. If he were to have any rules, fuck him, what an idiot, da-da-da-da-da, right? So she's definitely, like, accepting my frame. She's going along with the mental path that I've been kind of, like, ushering her down. So now I'm just going to sit back, relax, and let her carry it through, right? It's so much better, rather than trying to convince the girl of something, is to plant the girl, the seed in her mind, and let the girl kind of allow that seed to grow and you know, let it kind of blossom and flower on its own within her mind. So that's kind of what's happening here. She's taking my frame and running with it, and that's a thing of beauty.
And if you tell me not to hang out with someone, fuck you, I'm gonna hang out with them. I don't care. Like, this is my life. I'm gonna do what I want. So like, I really enjoy hanging out with you. And I don't know where any of this was headed, but like I do have a strong inclination towards this other person, since like I have been talking to them for like a month or so, whatever. And I don't like to shy away from things, and I like to put things out in the open. And I also, because I think it's a test of personality and how people react to that. Not that I like want to set anyone up for a test, but I also don't care to be friends with a male if they're only looking to hook up with me. Which, let's say 75% on. You know, I don't mind being hit on, I don't mind hooking up with people, but, you know, I do believe that I have more depth to me, and that occasionally I don't like it acknowledged. Not all the time, but if it's someone consistent in my life, I want it acknowledged. And two, that like I don't believe in misleading people. And personally, because I don't like being misled, I like strict boundaries. I like to know. I work well, not like strict boundaries. They could be like broad boundaries, but I like to know where my boundaries are, because I don't like to disappoint people. I'm a people pleaser, and I don't want to disappoint someone because we had like miscommunication where boundaries are, or like whatever comes with that. Like, I'm a little psycho. So like all of that.
Say that again?
I'm a little psycho. No, I'm definitely psycho. Like fully, severely psycho.
I just liked hearing it. You don't need to say. I just wanted to make you say it just because I enjoyed it.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
So like that's kind of, and maybe I shouldn't mention it to you, but it's my comfort zone. And I like hanging out with you, and I wouldn't want that to like stop us doing so. And I feel like knowledge and open communication is very prosper in any relationship. And that is my thesis statement. You go, do you need a straw?
I don't know where my straw went.
I don't
I'm like,
think you
actually,
got one. You didn't get one.
I got one. It's gross, but I'm not gonna use it anymore. But I did get one. I was like, I knew I had one a second ago.
Do you want that?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
If you want to
I can eat like orange and raspberry mush or orange and cherry mush without a straw.
Okay, good.
But thank you.
I wasn't gonna share it. It's just
Wow, that was like a non-offer. That was a false offer. Hi.
I have a final opinion. Final line.
Let me finish my sentence and then you can finish yours.
Because I will finish my thought.
Okay, fine. Finish yours and then I'll finish mine.
Because I don't want any relationship with any person to hinder my experience in New York. Because if I'm only in New York for this year, I want to live it up, and I don't want to be like, look back and be like, oh, I spent all my time with this person, or in Philly visiting this person I liked, or like, whatever. I want all of it, hard and fast, like, New York experience. This is my time, this is my place. You can go.
Agreed.
Okay.
So obviously that's really good. The things I wanted to point out here are the kiss and to a lesser extent like the pinky swear. It's kind of like when you have a fight with a girlfriend and you end it with like makeup sex, and it's like by having the makeup sex, whatever was going on in the fight is forgiven and you're good now, right? And you've acknowledged that you like each other with the new knowledge that has been like, that's come to the table that created that fight, okay? So now we had this great vibe, and then she brought up this new knowledge, the boyfriend or the guy she's seeing or whatever, right? And then we talk it all through. We kind of come to an agreement that it's not a factor in a way, or we come to an agreement that you know, that we have a philosophical way around it, whatever. And then we seal it with a kiss, seal it with a pinky swear. That's our agreement. That like that's our makeup sex, our makeup kiss, so to speak, at the end of the discussion. That's a very, very, very useful technique emotionally for a girl, because it's just saying like there was this information, like we were kissing before, there's this new information. If that new information came up and then suddenly there wasn't intimacy or there wasn't kissing for a while, that would indicate the new information affected your vibe. By having the kiss at the end of this little segment, it's indicating that new information didn't change anything. I'm a virgin, sir.
You're trying to get the cherry out of my mouth, in which case let me swallow first.
I approve of women swallowing, so go ahead.
I'm not going to give my opinion on that matter.
I really don't care either way, but like, it's 10% flattering, but I really don't care.
What is flattering about it?
When a girl swallows, it's flattering because it's like she wanted to take in your essence. In a way, but I really don't care. If she wants to spit, fine. I already felt what I felt. It's fine.
What if she doesn't want you to come in her mouth?
Where does she want me to come?
In her mouth, I said.
Where does she want me to come?
Oh, like elsewhere. I don't know. So she doesn't taste it. Like, I'm just curious. I'm not going to tell you my preference.
I suppose that's a culinary decision on her part, but whatever. I will say. Actually, do you want to know, like, dirty male secret?
Yeah.
Okay. Dirty male secret is this. Coming in the mouth or in the most intimate of female parts is the best. However...
Uterus.
Huh? Uterus. I was thinking, like, pussy, but okay, whatever. Or
Same thing.
Vagina, if you prefer the medical term. But regardless, coming there or there is the best. However, if you come in the mouth and the girl goes too hard after the fact, it's very sensitive and it's a little much.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Always sensitive after coming.
I know. So, coming in the mouth, coming somewhere welcoming and warm and inviting is the best.
Warm, welcoming environment.
However,
where we all want to just come into.
However, if the girl's too enthusiastic after the fact, I'd rather pull out because it can be a little sensitive after the fact. Full disclosure. Is that fair? It's like, have you ever had a guy like make you come and then afterwards like he's touching the clit and you're like, not that you'd be annoyed, but you push his hand away because you're like, that's enough. Have you ever done that?
No, but that's a different category.
It's the same kind of thing. The point is like, at a certain point, it's like too much stimulation. You're like, it was good, but like, I'm done. So what you're about to watch here is a very interesting discussion about female sex, right? Or specifically what the experience of sex is like for a woman. And actually, this perspective that she's putting out is pretty common. And then the perspectives I'm throwing back at her are probably even more common in terms of female sexual experiences. The big takeaway is a lot of girls have had disappointing sex. In fact, a lot of sex, like the majority of sex, is probably fairly disappointing for a woman, which, if you think about it, all those times you're like, why the fuck did she give me LMR? Why do girls make it so hard to sleep with them? That kind of stuff. You have to understand that girls have a lot of very disappointing sexual experiences, and also girls, when they have sex, are going through this whole like, am I a slut thing? So it's a very negative experience for a girl if she gives herself to a guy, gets a shitty experience, and feels slutty about it. And especially if she's chastised by her friends for being slutty on top of it. So it's just a really interesting thing to be a part of if you've never had this kind of a discussion with a girl. Very good to just understand her perspective on it. And actually the perspectives I'm having or that I'm sharing are very closely related to hers, but probably more general, because she's not even that extreme of a case, but she's a little more of an extreme case than what you'll run into, especially if you're good in bed and mostly when you sleep with a girl are giving them orgasms. You're not going to have a lot of experience with girls that haven't had orgasms because you've usually pleased them. But regardless, all this stuff is very, very common. All this stuff is very, very accurate and very true. And if you've never heard or been a part of a discussion like this, very educational to listen to. Same kind of thing when a guy, because essentially like the male penis is the same as a female. Anyway, regardless, this is it actually comes from the same part biologically.
No, I understand that. I just don't understand it from a personal perspective.
Have you never had a man make you
I
come?
was very thirsty for alcohol.
Really?
I did a half marathon.
You poor dear.
Why?
I'm
Great
sorry.
sex though. I have sex whenever I want to.
That's what you think. You poor dear.
Really far. And it takes a lot of time. I mean, like...
I've never come in general. I don't masturbate.
Really?
You have to, like,
Never tried? Never wanted to?
I mean, like, attempt it, just like, was never into it.
12
I've never watched porn, like...
I'm not gonna
I think
kiss
you're
you.
thinking I'm naive.
I'm totally not gonna kiss you right now. You poor dear.
No, I'm not a poor dear. Don't
I'm
look
promising
at it
you.
that way.
I'm not promising you
I
anything.
hate that.
No, I'm not promising you anything because I don't know if we're gonna like. I don't.
Yeah,
That's
no,
even
but
like
I
a
hate
whole
those,
other.
like assumptions.
Oh, it's not an assumption. It's just that like. Okay. It's not because.
An assumption.
Stop.
Especially because
Stop.
you're associating it
Stop.
with me being younger, and you know
Stop.
that you're doing that.
I didn't even do that. I
No,
didn't
you
even think that he
are
was
on a
young.
subconscious
Okay,
level,
stop.
because
Let me
it's a
talk.
systematic
Let me
thing.
talk. I don't mean it in any negative way. I think it's fine. That said, when I say you poor dear, what I mean is there's this human experience that's possible, that's amazing, that you've not experienced. It's similar to like if you told me you've never eaten ice cream, I'd be like, you poor dear, let's go have some ice cream together.
No, I
or if
disagree.
you told me you'd never had a really good steak, I'd be like, my darling, let me take you for a filet mignon. It's it's if you'd like. The point is, it's not any kind of like, first of all, it's not self-interested because I've come my share of times and made my share of women come. I don't care about that. But it's just one of those things where it's like, there is this thing in the human experience, and before you die, you better experience it. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe, but also maybe not. You're talking from a male perspective. So you can't acknowledge the female perspective.
Okay.
In a natural sense.
My dear.
You can't.
I know from a female perspective you can have good sex without coming. I get it. I've had girls say that. That said, good sex with coming is empirically better than good sex without.
But there are also
It's
women
just
who,
a fact.
but there
It's
are
just a
also
fact.
women who can't.
I think that's like 1% of 1%. I think if you can't, that's like you've never had proper. I'm not. Okay.
I mean, maybe I can, maybe I can't,
Okay.
but like it's not hindering my sex
I'm not
life.
saying it is. I'm not saying. Okay. I'm not disparaging.
But I think
I'm
you're
not.
giving me
Stop.
like a naive.
Stop. I'm not disparaging. I'm not hindering. I've once in my life been with a girl I couldn't make cum. It happens, but it happened once in my life. Fine, fair enough. She was young, and I think if I whatever. It doesn't matter.
She was young. Yeah,
No,
like
no, no.
young girls.
No, I think if we did it, like I only did it once with her. If we did it more times, maybe I could have. But the fact of the matter, and I don't mean this disparaging. I'm sure I've had great sex as far as that goes. But what I'm saying is, don't give up on yourself.
I'm not giving up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Don't give up on yourself.
It's fully. I don't want to be like.
Because
Enjoy my sexuality and what I do or do not do. I love it all. Whether it's bad or good, I love experience. And I'm super open about sex and anti-slut shaming. And I'm not saying you're doing any of that. I'm not saying that. I'm not trying to offend you.
I'm not. That's not even a category. That's not even
saying that, like, whether I do or not.
Not even a category.
But what I'm saying, whether I do or not, does not, like, resonate with me.
I understand. Come on. Let me talk to you. Come on. I'm gonna talk to you like intimately for a second, like sort of intimately, like from 6 inches away. I understand that there are a lot of things about sex more than an orgasm. I get it. I 100% get that. And I've talked to girls who said that until they had an orgasm. But I've talked to girls who saed that, and it's fine. And I
You acknowledge you're being condescending, right?
Only a little bit.
You're being condescending.
A little bit.
Okay.
That said, I understand that, I do know this though. I do know that sex with someone you care about or sex that means something to you without an orgasm can be better from a female perspective than meaningless sex with an orgasm. I get that. I understand that there's more emotional nature. I get that for sure. I don't have an issue with that. All I'm saying, my dear,
Just experience it, and I will.
Is that you're very young. You're very young. And until you've had steak, you shouldn't disparage steak. Until you've had ice cream, you shouldn't disparage ice cream. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
I'm not disparaging anything.
I'm also not promising anything. Just so you know.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm confident, but I'm not promising anything.
A lot of things. Combo.
You're here today?
All right. You're coming with me right now. I'm gonna kick you out in half an hour. Even if you ask to stay in half an hour, I'm kicking you out.
15 minutes. I'm leaving at 9:30.
Whatever. Come with me. Oh yeah. All right. Basically, about to take her back up to the room. The key thing here is following the blueprint, which, first of all, the general female blueprint if she doesn't want it to be her fault, but in particular, her blueprint if she likes to be led. And she does have the boyfriend scenario, so it needs to happen smoothly and not as like a big production. And so the big thing I'm going to continue doing here is I'm going to just keep talking to her throughout the entire way up to the room, right? Even in the elevator when it's a little awkward, keep talking to her. And the big thing is I want this to feel like something that just happened, something that, you know, she didn't have to like sit there in like an awkward, quiet moment and make a decision about. It just happened, one thing led to another. Okay? The attraction's there, the situation's there, everything's there. I just have to not fuck it up at this point. Fire up my...
You look close. So I'm leaving in 15 minutes.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, currently I live very close by. I normally live in West Village, like I told you. Okay. But I told you I'm executive homeless right now, so I'm fucking all over the place.
In this hotel
I'm
right
fucking,
now?
at the moment. So the deal is, full disclosure. So I have my place that I'm subletting, which is in West Village. And then I'm currently, technically I'm subletting it to my employees.
Okay.
Does that make sense at all? So basically my employees all stay there. And I could stay there, but I technically gave up my part of the apartment to one of my employees and he's paying me rent for it. So if I were to step in and be like, fuck you, give me a room, that would be weird.
Yeah.
So I currently have a segment of my own life back, basically, so to speak.
Okay.
So since I just got back from Europe, I'm essentially transient and itinerant, if that makes sense. I don't know if itinerant even works. Itinerant worker, right?
So you're taking women to your hotel room.
I like that you made that plural. Your estimation of me is fun.
Maybe. Possibly.
Well, because women wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
It sounds better as women.
Woman instead of women.
Yeah, I think that's a better fit in general. That it's so you're taking a woman to your hotel room.
Yeah.
Sounds weird, but if you're
No,
saying
that's literally
take
exactly
women,
verbatim, dude.
then it's chill.
I like that you find that
What's
more
that?
chill.
Yeah.
That's actually quite amusing. As far as that goes, no.
Yeah. I'll
You're
probably
very
have to,
interesting. This whole elevator thing and her giving me the shit test publicly in the elevator is a really good sort of like last sort of barrier for her, like last little bit of sort of external social resistance, because most guys, given that shit test in a public elevator, would crack in some way, right? And so she's looking for like, am I really the fucking like icy player that like I'm conveying that I am, basically? But like, am I truly comfortable? Do I truly believe that what I'm doing is okay? Am I truly like, do I have nervousness about the fact that I'm going back to the room with her? Do I have nervousness about being with a girl in general? Do I have nervousness over the frame that sex is okay? She's testing all that, not only with you take women back to your hotel room, but also the public nature, the fact that we're in this quiet elevator with all these people there. It's a good moment. It's a good moment. And the fact that I have the right, like, honest signals of not caring, and I actually can still speak in that intimate voice and just be chill with it, such a huge, huge, huge positive indicator. A combination of like cocky and modest, actually.
I'm super modest.
I'll probably hit it like Lord East said, like,
Super
I don't know,
modest,
probably like fucking
How are you?
like 2 hours.
What's
or something.
modest about you?
I'm a Catholic girl.
What's that?
It's not modest.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Because you have a stereotype.
Your modesty
about it.
isn't like defined by your ideology; it's defined by you.
Yeah. Well, I think
Y'all
I
seeing, like-
conform to that in some ways.
Kind of.
In some ways, I
Ich glaube, bevor
Right.
ich glaube, September ist kaputt.
Not even. Not even like.
In some ways, you conform to some ways you don't. No, but okay. So, have you ever looked at like twin studies? You've done psychology, right? You know twin studies, right? Okay, so do you remember how they said like different twins like separate at birth? One's raised Buddhist, one's raised Catholic, or one's raised whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And so the similarity is in the devoutness with which they followed various religions.
Okay.
But like obviously, if one was raised one was raised the other, they followed the one that they were,
Yeah.
that culturally made sense for them.
Okay.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about like what ideology you were raised with. I'm talking about you.
No, and I
Like
understand
and
that.
to be fair, I'm not curious about I'm curious about you because I'm like hanging out with you, not with your ideology.
Yeah, no, and I understand that, but twin studies in that sense are completely different. Because
'Cause you're
those
not
are
a-
studying
'cause you're not a
nature
twin?
versus nurture.
Mm-hmm.
And for myself, I only have what was nature for me and what was nurture for me.
Okay.
And I think that religion does play like a relatively important role
In
in just like
No,
who
I
am as a
understand.
person.
but like devoutness is different than. That's weird that the one did worse than the other did. But whatever. I was like, what the fuck? I thought for a
You
minute
know,
there.
like,
For a minute there, I
like,
forgot where I lived.
And, like,
So that's a great example of the girl's blueprint, both first sort of implicitly figuring it out and then explicitly her actually telling me, talking me through exactly how she's feeling, that kind of stuff. Dealing with frame control, dealing with conveying myself in the right way with respect to what stereotype she wants me to fit into in order to go ahead and be okay with sleeping with me under the conditions that she has. So yeah, great example. Also some pretty good discussions about women's views on sexuality, that kind of stuff. So pretty good overall. Now we're going to look at this one layer deeper. We're going to go into the exact verbals, why I say exactly what I said, and the what I'm thinking moment to moment on that sort of verbal level.